You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday, happy Jupiter day, and happy birthday to the most important Cancer in my life, my dad. He's celebrating his birthday today alongside Mike Tyson, and we were just joking that that's kind of spot on that my dad has the same energy as Mike Tyson. Also, Michael Phelps is a Cancer. He has his birthday today. And Lizzie Kaplan, whose name you might not know, but you would probably know her face if you've seen the movie Mean Girls. She plays Janice. So happy birthday to all the Cancers in our community. Let us know if it's your birthday. If you're celebrating someone's birthday, we would love to give them a shout out too. Now today we have the sun and moon hanging out in Cancer still. The moon will move into Leo tonight, but the major transit we'll be talking about is the sun coming into a conjunction with Lilith. And Lilith has been with us all week. Lilith has been in Cancer for several months now, but we've really been feeling her energy this week with the new moon forming a conjunction to Lilith, the sun today forming a conjunction to Lilith. We're feeling her power, most definitely. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what it means when the sun and Lilith meet up. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I will pass along that message to him. Pass along the love. So expect to talk more about Lilith. I know you're probably sick of hearing about Lilith, but she's our power. She's very empowering. And the connections the Cancer moon makes this morning are a little bit intense. Lilith is already an intense energy. The connections the moon is making are going to amplify that. So fair warning, today could bring a little bit of emotional intensity, a little bit of impulsive energy, and we'll explain why in just a moment. But let's start with our girl Lilith. All right, so taking a look at the chart here, you can see both the sun and Lilith are at 8 degrees in Cancer right now. And we talked a lot about Lilith in Cancer and the correlation between what's going on with Roe versus Wade. When Lilith moved into Cancer, this conversation started right around the new moon conjunct Lilith. And of course, this week, as the sun has been approaching Lilith, we have seen some major activation with what's been going on. And this correlates because Lilith rules this part of us that doesn't want to be controlled, this wild feminine energy. The story of Lilith is that God created Lilith and placed her in the Garden of Eden with Adam. And she did not want to submit to her husband, which, if you read these stories in the Bible, that was frowned upon. And Lilith has gotten a bad rep because of it for quite a long time. But in modern history, we're reclaiming Lilith. And there are also some stories that, this is a little bit more PG-13, that Lilith refused to literally be on the bottom, because Lilith is definitely associated with our sexual energy too, and she wanted to be on top, and that was again very frowned upon. So Lilith was cast aside, and God created Eden out of Adam's rib, so she would be created from him, not necessarily an equal. So Lilith is that part of us that represents this need for autonomy, this need for sovereignty, this need for control and power. And anyone trying to control us, Lilith is the part of us that's like, no, thank you. I do not want to be controlled. So you can see how she relates to the current energy, right? And with Lilith in Cancer, Cancer ruling our womb space, our ovaries, our breasts, our feminine organs, as well as our stomach, but really focusing on that feminine energy, that motherly energy, and our own bodily autonomy. So when the sun is forming a conjunction to Lilith today, we can feel emotional intensity, especially because the sun is in Cancer. The sun doesn't rule our emotions, but because Cancer is ruled by the moon, it's a very emotional energy throughout Cancer season. We're all a little bit more tapped into those emotions, tapped into our intuition. Anytime the sun is forming a conjunction or a major aspect to another planet or another point in the solar system, I like to think of it as an illumination, right? Because the sun is this life force energy. The sun is, shining light, like literally the source of light. So Lilith in our solar system in astrology represents, she's called the Black Moon Lilith. She represents the point on the moon's orbit, which is not perfectly spherical, that is farthest from the earth. So the darkest point, it's like the dark moon, essentially. And so the sun being here is kind of lighting up those shadows and illuminating our own internal power source is how I see it. It's like our feminine power is amplified. The sun is supercharging this part of us that's like, no, thank you. I want sovereignty. I want bodily autonomy. And our rebellious nature is likely going to be amplified today. And we'll feel this especially over the next couple of days because as we will talk about tomorrow, Mars is conjunct Eris, which is the goddess of war and revolt and discord. And Mars is squaring off to Pluto tomorrow. So that's a really tumultuous, powerful energy in itself. And with the sun and Lilith together too, like this energy is going to keep amplifying over the next couple days. You've noticed people have not gotten quiet over the last week, right? I expect that to continue through at least this weekend. So we're more rebellious. We're more consciously aware of the parts of us that have been hiding in the shadows, repressed. So you could even have some realizations today about things that you've been denying yourself. You could feel emotions like, oh, I haven't been paying enough attention to this, and they're coming up and being illuminated, and they can be expressed very powerfully. Lilith is also commonly referred to as our inner bitch, and with the Cancer sun conjunct Lilith, it's kind of illuminating that part of ourselves too. So especially when we get into what's going on with the moon, be easy to let that bitchy side take over today. Let's all try to be nice to each other and maybe slow down a little bit. Think before we speak. I would say especially if you are denying your body what it needs with the sun in Cancer, if you are not getting enough rest or nourishment, like I said, the Cancer rules our stomachs. If you're not feeding yourself, like hunger could definitely come out today. And just, pay attention to your body's needs, because the more you deny your body's needs, even the simplest needs like water, food, rest, the more that bitchy side is likely to come out, which is, common sense, yes, but today, especially with this conjunction, just be gentle with yourself, be nourishing to yourself. Ooh, update. Yesterday afternoon, my best friend offered me a job that I've been dreaming about for a year. I start next Tuesday. It's been a very interesting few days. So many questions about my chart. And I remember you saying at the new moon, you made a big relationship change as well. And I believe it was in your 7th house. You correct me if I'm wrong, but wow, lots of things changing and moving for you around this new moon. New opportunities. That's very exciting. Hi, Diane. Right as the moon opposed my natal Saturn in the 12th and ascendant at 19 degrees Cap. Okay, so the moon is moving into your 7th house, or moved into your 7th house today, and opposed your natal Saturn in the 12th. Okay, yeah. Notice this is all occurring while square to my sun, Venus, and Mercury in Libra, stellium in Libra, we love that, while the transit moon was squaring Chiron. Oh my gosh. So you're already digging deep into what's going on in your chart. Lots of squares, which is activation, which is changes. It can be abrupt changes. This opposition, the moon and Saturn, that's big lessons. It can be kind of this moment of practicality as well. Even some isolation as the new moon opposed your Saturn. It's interesting that you had this moment of like, I need to be on my own. And then it opened up this new opportunity. Really interesting that this is all going on for you at this kind of pivotal point, it seems like, where there's this grand square in your chart right now. Wild. Is this a time of transformation too? I heard today demanding transformation, tomorrow transformation with support. So tomorrow, when Mars squares off to Pluto, Pluto is the planet of transformation, of death and rebirth. And when Mars is the planet of action. So we'll dig deeper into this aspect specifically tomorrow. But yeah, there's likely to be transformative moves made over the next couple days. And demanding transformation is a good way of looking at it with that square. It's like, we need this to happen now. And, today as we lead up to the square, yes, we're still feeling it right now. But I would say to kind of attune to the energy, play into Lilith a little bit and really get clear on your true desires. What is it that you really want? What desires have been hiding within that you've been ignoring? That will help you lean into tomorrow's transformative energy. And the clearer you are about what you want, I think the easier it will be to navigate tomorrow. Sometimes when we don't know what we want, it's easy to just know what we don't want, and then hopefully this makes sense. If you don't know what you want and you know what you don't want, you're more likely to be angry or I just don't want this, but if you're clear today on what are my true desires, the sun forming a conjunction to Lilith, lighting up this part of me, it can help you be okay, what action am I going to take tomorrow to transform, to get closer to that? What do I need to let die in order to be reborn and get closer to the things I do want? So yes, this is a time of transformation, most definitely can. Cancer moon finally hit me last night. This morning, feeling a bit drained today, but definitely getting more insights of what I believe in and my values and what I want to do. Perfect. I know you were I'm feeling buzzy yesterday, and I'm the Cancer moon is going to slow us all down at some point, but it also, again, depends on what's going on in your chart. So if you are feeling the effects of the Cancer moon today, maybe, or at different times, just know that this is a calling to give your body rest, really slow down, give your body what it needs. And the moon moves out of Cancer today, so we'll all start to kind of pick up energy-wise when the moon moves into Leo. So let's move on and talk about what's going on with the moon. We are in our first transit of the day right now. So again, the Cancer moon really keeping us attuned to our true emotions. We're very sensitive. It's those emotions can surface very easily. It's no secret. Cancer is known for crying easily, because we're just more aware of them. We're more aware of our feelings. This is not an energy of being able to push things down or, push them to the side. It's we're going to feel these feelings, right? And under the dark moon, remember with the moon in Cancer today, talking about this transformative energy, all things are birthed from darkness. Cancer, again, ruling the womb space. We are all born inside or created inside a womb in darkness. And so when we sit under the dark moon, this new moon in Cancer, it's really a time of creativity and trusting our intuition and tapping into our true feelings to figure out what is it that we want to birth? What is it that we're creating out of this darkness right now? So the first transit we're feeling right currently, at this moment that we're streaming live, and this could be also, Rachel, why you're feeling a bit drained right now. The moon is forming a trine to Neptune. And remember, Neptune is retrograde as well. But here's the moon, here's Neptune. It's a nice flowing angle between them. So you might have had very vivid dreams as you woke up this morning. You might feel a little bit like you're still in dreamland. The Neptune is the planet of dreams and illusions. And with Neptune now retrograde, we're starting to get clarity on the things that maybe we've been trusting too easily or buying into too easily. Now, I will say with the moon forming this harmonious angle to Neptune, though, our imagination is heightened right now. We're more fantastical, but we can also just be more sleepy. You know, with the moon in Cancer, wanting to give our body rest, if we're not giving our body what it needs, that can definitely manifest as sleepiness right now. But it's a nice positive connection to start our day. We're really attuned to our subconscious as well. If you had those vivid dreams, pay attention to maybe some hidden meanings in them. They could be telling you what you're not paying attention to, as we've been talking about the things that have been hiding in the shadows. The moon harmonizing with Neptune is giving us this opportunity for clarity about, you know, what we want to create. It's a very creative energy. It's really helping us tap into what lies beneath and what is also in the ethers. So if you're feeling extra imaginative or creative at the moment, this is a great time to lean into that energy. And if you're feeling extra sleepy, that makes sense as well. So yeah, if you're having a hard time getting going this morning, give it another half hour or so, and the energy should start to pick up, because the next transit we'll talk about is the moon squaring off to Mars. You can see Mars at 26 degrees here. So if we jump forward even just an hour, the moon hits 26 degrees and squares off to Mars. When the moon squares Mars, just in general, regardless of what signs they're in, it makes us impulsive. A square is this energy of urgency, of activation, of almost being blindsided by something. You can literally think of it as like if two cars are traveling, you know, perpendicular to each other and they connect, it's like being blindsided, being T-boned by Mars. So, you know, aggravation is a definite side effect of this, just wanting to act, do something now. You could start to feel that energy pick up as the day goes on. You know, we'll likely be operating solely off of our intuition in this moment with the moon in Cancer. It's like whatever our feelings are in this immediate moment, we want to act on them. That might not serve us, that might serve us. You know, if you're really attuned to your intuition and you really trust your intuition, it could be telling you like, okay, this is the thing you need to do right now. I would just warn against following that urgency. Remember, you don't have to do everything right in this moment. Try to think things through because that sense of urgency could be a little bit overpowering today, especially with Lilith, everything going on with Lilith today. We want to be careful that we're not reacting too quickly. With the moon squaring off to Mars, we can be very reactive and just, like I said, aggressive. Like we're just ready to jump into action and follow that feeling, follow that impulse without really thinking things through. This is all about the gut feeling and the emotion. And there's not a lot of like mind activation going on today. So, you know, just slow down a little bit. I love that Ken said this. I think this is perfect to just kind of go back a moment to the moon harmonizing with Neptune right now. Clarity and forgiveness. Neptune is a very compassionate energy. So we're all feeling a little bit more compassionate and forgiving this morning. And that can be really helpful with all the intensity we're talking about right now. So today is a really great day, I would say, for forgiveness, for opening your heart, and for seeing the good in other people. Just lean into that, even if it's not the easiest at certain points of the day today. I have a lot of Venus relationships activation right now. So my Libra side is I want to love everyone, but yes, finally slowing down. Remember, you can only pour from a full cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So giving your body what it needs will help you relate to other people even better than you already are. Thank you, James. Thank you for being here. Okay, so the moon squares off to Mars. That's at 10 a.m. Then the final connection the Cancer moon makes today is in opposition to Pluto. So if you thought the square to Mars was intense, just wait for that opposition to Pluto to kick in right around noon. Let's jump ahead so you can see that big red line on the chart. And it's a T-square as well, right? Because tomorrow we'll talk about Mars squaring off to Pluto. So this is an energy of intensity. Again, it's very impulsive, very reactive, Power struggles are possible. Mood swings are possible by midday today. When the moon opposes Pluto, those impulses, that energy to like just do it and follow your gut instinct can turn into like, this needs to happen now, like a very controlling, manipulative energy with Pluto involved. When we have an opposition like this, we can face it head on or face off against it. And in this situation, with the Cancer moon really tying us into our emotions and intuition, facing off against Pluto and Capricorn, these systemic shadows within us, we're facing those things, and that can be scary. That can bring up fear. That can bring up an energy of like, I don't want this transformation to happen. I need to be in control. Or even if we do want the transformation to happen, we still don't want to give over control and go with the flow. And this just in general leads to really powerful emotions midday today. Now, if we're willing to face our shadows head on, this could be a really transformative moment where we're taking transformative action, especially as Mars and Pluto are starting to connect with each other. But anger and manipulation are certainly side effects of this. So we really have to be willing to feel our feelings and meet those emotional depths head on. If we're not willing to be honest and authentic and real with ourselves, Pluto will not handle anything surface level. Pluto wants the truth, the deep truth. If we're willing to see our own truths, even the ugly, scary parts of our truths, this is like such a transformative moment. If we're not, if we don't like what we see, that's often the time when we like are looking to the people around us like, well, I don't like what's going on with me, so I'm just going to take it out on you. You know, we've all been there. There's no judgment. It's just, let's try to avoid controlling other people and really focus this energy on ourselves. That's kind of the best way to use this. And with the moon in Cancer, we're all a little bit more crabby. You know, we're more protective of our emotions. You can think of that crab shell, like all soft inside. We're feeling all the things, but on the outside, we're like, no, nobody else can get into my shell, my home, my body. So just, you know, again, full warning to just go with the flow, be willing to see your own truth, be willing to tap into those deep emotions that maybe you don't normally pay attention to, and avoid the tendency to try to control, manipulate others, you know, even lash out on others if you are feeling super vulnerable. That is a tendency many of us will likely have today, but if we know about it, we know about it now. We don't have to be controlled by it. We don't have to let it get the best of us, you know, so just be nice to yourself. Be nice to others. Oh yes, we talked about this. The moon just passed my natal Chiron, and my friend and I had just talked for over an hour. Mind-blowing seeing this unfold. He's got a place for me to move in already since I'll have to move. This is a healing moment for you too, because I remember earlier in the week there was kind of this like, okay, a relationship is ending. There's a little bit of uncertainty or maybe even some sadness with it, just a transition happening. And now the moon passed over your Chiron, and it sounds like you've had this healing conversation. I mean, it's all aligning for you. It's a really beautiful moment. Thanks for being here. So we have this feisty little afternoon energy right around midday. Then the moon goes void from about noon to 5 today. And just a reminder what a void moon is all about. It's, if we look at the chart, once the moon connects with Pluto here, it doesn't make any other connections until it moves into Leo. And in this 5-ish hour period, you know, our energy levels kind of drop, and it's not really a great time to start anything new. We want to wait to start something new until the moon moves into a new sign. Instead, this is the time to tie up loose ends. Anything you try to start during a void moon won't really amount to much. However, we can use this energy to our advantage today, because if we do end up in a little bit of trouble, in a tricky situation where maybe we've said too much or been a little bit harsh or lashed out on other people, this is a great time to clear the air under the void moon. It's a great time to say you're sorry. It's a great time for forgiveness under the void moon, because, you know, tapping back into that conversation likely won't amount to a whole lot during the void moon, which is kind of nice. It diffuses energy a little bit. So, you know, just use the void moon to your advantage. Don't push yourself during the void moon. Just wait until the moon moves into Leo. Yeah, that's perfect. Book that flight when the moon moves into Leo. Let's talk about the Leo moon. Let's talk about it, because it's honestly a much more fun energy to talk about, I think, than the Cancer moon, only because it's a little less emotional, and we've all been feeling all the feelings all week with this new moon. So I think we deserve a little bit of fun for the weekend, and that is what the Leo moon is going to bring. So just before 6 p.m. Pacific time, the moon moves into Leo. You can see it here. It's not making any connections today for the rest of the day. So we just get a pure dose of Leo moon energy to end our day today. But what does that actually mean? Well, this is going to be the waxing crescent moon. It's a time to plan and prepare and start thinking about what actions we want to take under the first quarter moon next week. Now, Leo rules our heart space. It rules our blood. It's that, I mean, it's also ruled by the sun. So it's like that vitality, that life force energy. Leo is known for pride and exuberance and being able to express ourselves easily and put ourselves out there and be bold. So our emotions could feel a little bit bolder over the next couple days. Not necessarily like angry, but we're just feeling ourselves a little bit more under that Leo moon. And it's like all these emotions we've been feeling, right? We have been processing a lot under this Cancer moon. Maybe a lot has come up for you emotionally with Lilith involved, like you're really understanding your true feelings about things. The Leo moon, it's like adding a little bit more heart into it, and not heart as in heartfelt emotions, but more like, okay, we know how we feel, we're going to own it, and what are we going to do with these emotions now? You know, we can just get a little bit more energy behind them. So I love that we have a Leo moon heading into the weekend. It's a great energy for, you know, getting the party started over the holiday weekend. I'm sure a lot of people here in the US will be having family gatherings and barbecues. It's like we're taking this newfound emotional awareness from the Cancer moon and just adding some energy to it and adding some action to it. Leo's a fire sign. It wants to take action. Moving your body this weekend is a great way to, you know, release emotions or to just tap into the fun, playful energy of the Leo moon. It's a time to have fun. We are nurtured emotionally by fun, by playfulness, literally like playing games with family and friends. Leo rules the 5th house, the inner child, the ego as well a little bit, but, you know, just having fun. Have a little bit of fun. Give yourself permission to have fun over the next couple days. You've done a lot of emotional work. Now, I will say, we'll talk about this more tomorrow, but there's a lot of fiery energy that's going to be happening with that square between Mars and Pluto, and the Leo moon will play into that fiery energy. So we want to make sure that when we're adding energy behind our emotions, we're not being too bold. We're not being too fiery, right? Because that we'll be able to find that fire very easily over the next couple days. But definitely an energy change. If you've been feeling tired or just drained under the Cancer moon, expect to, like, literally your blood's going to be pumping again. You know, it's like we're getting going. We're moving our body. We're feeling like we can now express ourselves and push that energy outward. So I'm excited for the Leo moon. I mean, it's moving through my 12th house, not the most exciting, but it is a fun energy for the weekend. Diane says, my Lilith is in Leo. I wonder if the moon being in Leo will trigger anything here. Well, Diane, I'm going to just refer back to what, oh, your Lilith. I was thinking Chiron. I think it's going to help you find your power. I think that could be a possibility where you're like, okay, you know, all this Lilith activation, you've been feeling it, you've been experiencing it, but with your Lilith in Leo, I could also see you feeling a little frisky under the Leo moon, if you know what I mean. Lilith is like that raw sexual energy as well. So got fiery Lilith, you know, it might be a little bit of a frisky time for you. And hey, play into it. Have some fun. Have some fun. The Leo moon is also a time for like pleasure and feeling good. And so I say lean into it. I say it's going to be positive. You might be a little bitchier, but I think also just, again, we can channel that into a different outlet and, you know, use that energy in a productive way. Yeah, Leo is in your 12th house too. So for you and me, Ken, us Virgo risings, the Leo moon is kind of a time of release. And so, you know, it could feel like closure endings happening out of this cycle for us. Just fair warning. You know, I think I don't think it's going to be a bad thing, but it could be like this final push of emotions out of us, especially if we've been feeling emotional under the Cancer moon. That's for those of us where Leo rules the 12th house. My Chiron is in Leo at 16 degrees. Okay, so what I was going to say to Diane, I'm going to say to you, I don't know your full name, but Pa, he just talked about the moon passing over his natal Chiron and there being this healing moment. So, maybe this brings a healing moment for you. And it sounds like that could be, called for right now, just from everything you've said in the chat today. So yeah, it could be a little triggering, could be a little fiery, but often we get triggered before we heal. So just look for the healing moment over the next couple days. And Mercury in Leo. So, having conversations, saying how you really feel. That's also something that could come up for you over the next couple of days. Oh, look, Ken has Mercury in Leo too. We have some commonalities here. All right, so those are the transits for today. It's all about Lilith. We're talking about Lilith. She's hanging out with us, finding our power, illuminating our true desires, illuminating our true emotions, illuminating this need to be sovereign, be free, but also with the Cancer moon making these harsh connections to Mars and Pluto, we want to make sure, like, the line between being in our power and being overpowering is very thin today. It could be really easy to be like, I know what I want, I am feeling myself, and not take into account how other people feel or how those things are landing. So just be really mindful of how you're communicating, how you're expressing your emotions, how they're coming up for you, and try not to be too overpowering. Try not to be hostile today. It could be easy to go there. And then when the moon moves into Leo, the energy changes. We'll be really in that Leo moon more tomorrow as well. Let's go ahead and pull a card. This deck was calling me today, and those of you who've been with me for a while know that this is a really funky deck. It's called Irreverent Inspiration. Someone sent it to me just to get the word out, and so I always put the website. I'll throw it in the chat if it calls to you. And the cards can be, the reason this is calling me today is because we have some harsh energy, some kind of intense energy that we're dealing with today. And sometimes these cards can be intense. They have some interesting phrases on them. The cards can also be a little bit PG-13. So just if anybody has kiddos watching, I'm just going to give you fair warning. I mean, nothing horrible, but there are a few cards that I'll give you a warning if the one I pull is like really R-rated. So yeah, we're going to pull from this deck today. I wonder, I have Lilith in Libra, also in the second house with Pluto and Uranus. Interesting. That's a lot of power with Lilith and Pluto there, and Uranus. There's a reason you're like all about like transformation right now, I think. But there's a lot of power there in your second house too. So it's a nice place to have power in the second house. Thank you, Becca. Your insights are beautiful and helpful. I need to have a chart reading. I just had such an amazing reading yesterday with another one of our viewers, Fern, and it's exactly what I needed as well. And yeah, it's so fun to connect with you guys. And like I'd seen her in the comments, but putting a face to her name and like really connecting with her on a one-on-one level was awesome. So I hope I get to do that with you too soon. Okay. I always get nervous to pull these cards. My Virgo is like, I don't know what's going to come up. Okay, here we go. Let's just take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath together. Here we go. Breathe in, hold, and let out an audible sigh. Okay. What do we need to know? Nothing. Figure that out. That's what the card says. I asked, what do we need to know? And it says nothing. Figure that out. Now, this does have a guidebook, so we'll see what the guidebook says, but that is really funny. The artwork on this card is cool too. It's like a moon reflecting in the water. It's kind of like a collage style artwork. And like I said, this is a deck somebody just reached out to me and gave me, and so it feels very like divine that the deck came to me. Here's what it says. And they just want to get the word out and have their deck reach more people. It's like they try to put a little like humor and lighten up, but also be kind of like blunt and brash in their guidance. So here we go. What do we need to know? Nothing. Figure that out. Has the steel trap of your mind figured it out yet? Clamp. Gotcha. If your mind could have figured it out already, don't you think it would have by now? Stop trying to stand under and understand everything. It gets so heavy under there. Set yourself free. There is nothing to figure out. And then it has hashtags at the bottom. Relax your mind hole. Hashtag relaxative. And hashtag relaxivate. They could just like make up funny words. But yeah, I think this is a reminder for all of us who have been processing a lot of emotions, and even the comments today, like I'm getting a lot of questions like, what does this mean for me right now? There's nothing to figure out. You already know everything you need to know. It's in your intuition. It's in your gut. It's trusting that. It's trusting the feelings as they come up and learning from them as they come up. The more we try to like control or manipulate or figure out what does this all mean, I think the farther sometimes we get from the true meaning. So just trusting your own intuition and letting the insights come to you as you need to receive them, rather than trying to figure out what everything means all the time. I feel like I've just been called out. I think that's kind of the goal of this deck, honestly. I think you perfectly described this deck. It really is here to like call us out. And, you know, I think you have a lot of Virgo placements too. We're those people. We're always analyzing. We're like, we always have to figure out the deeper meaning of everything. And sometimes it's just enjoy your life. Like there's nothing to figure out right now. Very in sync for my week. Been anxious about foolish things. But now you're recognizing that. And what a beautiful realization you're having. Like it's okay to just let things unfold. I don't have to control them or be understanding of all the things. I love how it said something about like, let's see, stop trying to stand under and understand everything. It gets so heavy under there. A lot of us have been feeling the heaviness of our emotions, of trying to figure things out. Like just lighten up. Nothing to figure out right now. My mind never rests. You and me both. You and me both, you guys. Boom. Yes. Danny asks, are chart readings done online? Yes, you can book a reading at thespiritualjournalist.com/readings, and there's a bunch of different options there that I offer. So I do them virtually. I send you a link right before the reading. I record the reading, and then you get a copy of it so you can refer back to it forever if you want to keep it forever, which is nice. I've had readings before that are recorded on Zoom, and even like a couple months later, I'll watch them back and be like, oh, I totally get that now. Sometimes in the moment, there's a lot of information being thrown at you and you're like, okay, I'm trying to make sense of it. But sometimes it's not until a month, 2 months, even a year later that you're like, oh, now I understand how this is showing up in my life. So yes, they are done online. Diane says, I think the card is saying not to be too serious to a fault. Allow yourself to breathe out, cut loose, relax for a minute when things feel too tense. Yes. And everything is so tense, we need a moment to laugh. Yes, yes. This is such a good reminder today with the square to Mars, the opposition to Pluto, this T-square we just talked about, like trying to be in control, trying to manipulate, trying to figure it all out. There's nothing to figure out. James says, there is no race to win. Just be happy and still peace. This is why I love that we do these forecasts live, because it's such a co-creation, and you guys always drop your wisdom in the comments and just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Yeah, I take notes on Zoom readings. It's nice to be able to just be present on the reading and go back and watch it later. And then I also offer like a full write-up too after the reading if you want me to do the notes for you. So on point for the Leo moon coming in. I know, right? The Leo moon is just like play. Like stop trying to figure it out. Just play and have fun and like let your energy be released and be free. And in this waxing crescent phase we're coming into of planning and preparing, it can be a little bit analytical, I will say, but sometimes when we're just in play, in pleasure, in fun mode is when those insights drop in and we're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do next. This is what I'm supposed to take action on. So stop trying to figure things out and just let them come to you. Just flow with what's going on. Ken gets it. Ken totally gets it. Okay, let's end with our affirmation of the day. The affirmation of the day is, I am powerful. We have the Sun conjunct Lilith, really illuminating that power center within all of us, that feminine strength within all of us. All of us have the masculine and feminine energies. But the quote, with great power comes great responsibility, comes to mind, right? We're all easily able to tap into our power today. It's how we use that power that will shape our emotional experience and our entire experience of the day. So remember, you are powerful. You can co-create your day. You can co-create your reality. You can make today whatever you want it to be. Just try not to let your power get the best of you. Don't get power hungry. It's easy to do that with the transits we're walking into today. But you're all powerful, beautiful humans with so much insight to share. I mean, I have an Olivia's Lives dedicated spiral. Just going down the rabbit hole. I like it. I appreciate you all being here. You're really like showing off your power in the comments today too. Like, just your insights are awesome. It's beautiful to see everyone's input and experience added to the forecast. I don't have it all figured out, right? Nothing. Figure that out. I don't have it all figured out. Sometimes the things you say. And actually, just one last thing about this reading I had yesterday, Fern said something really profound that touched me. She was like, I think it's so cool that you do the forecast live. I'm paraphrasing here. This is not her direct quote, but basically she was like, when it's live, you're a channel, it's just spontaneous. It's whatever's coming through in the moment. And yes, exactly. And you being here, you're part of that channel, literally this channel, but also this information stream that's coming through from the divine, through me, through your comments. We're creating it together. And I appreciate you, Diane. I really do. Your energy every day, it just warms my heart. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me today. Tomorrow, we will be back to walk through the weekend, this tense square between Mars and Pluto, this powerful energy we're coming into. We'll go through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so you're prepared for the weekend ahead. Want to give you a little bit of a heads up as well that next Tuesday, the spiritual journalist is finally coming back. Super excited about our guest for next Tuesday. We're going to be talking all about the Akashic Records. So if you've heard the term Akashic Records and you're like, what does that even mean? Veronica is going to break it down for us. She's been working with them for many years, a very spiritual person, and I'm really excited for our conversation. So stay tuned for more information about that. You can follow me on Instagram at the.spiritual.journalist if you want to keep up on who the next guests are, or just on YouTube here. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so. It really does help, and it's free to you. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's the mark when we can monetize the channel and start making money off of these live streams. Not the big bucks, but just enough to keep them going every day for you. So I hope you have a beautiful Thursday. I hope you find your power today and use it wisely. I hope you give grace to others. I hope you give grace to yourself. I appreciate you showing up in the comments every day, being part of this community. It means the world to me, and what we're creating together is so beautiful. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you right back here tomorrow morning. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.